From Olkaria Geothermal, Seven Forks Hydros, and other generation sites, you have to generate power, transmit it, deliver it to the substation, all the way to the transformer, and finally to you. My name is Engineer Teacher Pamoja Toanga.
From breaking the barriers in Muchuma to tackling security concerns across the country, this is Prime Edition coming to you live from Broadcasting House in Nairobi, Kenya. But first, the highlights. Don't be goons for hire. President Ruto tells young people as he accuses his political opponents of planning chaos ahead of 2027 elections. Denying lawyers their due, advocates angry over a court ruling barring them from representing public entities in court. Drugs in schools. Grade 10 learners screened for drugs as they report to respective senior schools. Internet blackout. President Museveni shuts down public internet access to selected mobile services ahead of Tuesday elections. Good evening and a warm welcome to the broadcast. I am Muchuma Odim. My colleague Tomboya is away this evening. He will be with us next Monday, God willing. Our sign language expert tonight is Lucy Mwaura. Talk to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. We begin with our lead story. A family in Mbale in Vihiga County is mourning after a man who went missing on Christmas Eve was discovered dead in a septic tank in a case that has shocked residents. Jane Kasigane, the mother to the deceased, noted that her 43-year-old son, Humphrey Mbalaga, went missing shortly after visiting home. Despite efforts to trace him, the family had received no information about his whereabouts until the shocking discovery. Investigations into Mbalaga's death are currently ongoing.
Residents of Mbale in Vihiga County woke up to a grim scene after a foul smell led members of the public to alert authorities, prompting police officers to visit the site. Upon inspection, officers recovered the bodies of two middle-aged individuals, a man and a woman, under circumstances that have raised serious concerns among locals. One of the victims has since been identified as 43-year-old Humphrey Mbalaga, who went missing on Christmas Eve. Speaking in grief, Jane Kasigane, the mother to the deceased, described the moment she learned of the recovery of her son's body as devastating.
Hata nilikuwa nalia lakini nikaambia Mungu nifunge kamba nisilie. Sijui ni nini imetokea kufanyika hivyo. Kama ni yenyewe imejilete ni sawa, na kama ni mwanadamu ameenda juu chini anataka kumaliza mji yangu, nimemwachia Mungu.
She termed the incident a double tragedy, revealing that the family is still mourning the death of her husband who passed away in October last year.
Kwa tunaomba tumalize hiyo mwaka vizuri, ndio hii ikatokea Disemba. Paka saa hii ndio tumepata hii msiba. Sasa hapa mimi naomba serikali nisaidie. Nisaidie, hii maneno ni maneno mzito, kwa sababu hii maneno imefanyika kama hatuna mbele na nyuma.
Mbihi Assistant Chief Alex Omenda says a second victim's body is yet to be identified, as the bodies were found in an advanced stage of decomposition.
So mpaka ile wataalamu wataingilia zaidi ili tuweze kusaidika, ili tuweze kutambua ni mili ni ya kina nani.
The bodies have been moved to Vihiga County Referral Hospital mortuary, where postmortem examinations are expected to be conducted to aid investigations. Jacqueline Masharia for Prime Edition.
President William Ruto has urged the youth to be wary of politicians out to use them to cause mayhem ahead of the 2027 general election. The president accused his opponents of spewing empty political rhetoric rather than presenting their agenda to the country. The president spoke at Archer's Post, Samburu, during the disbursement of Nyota Initiative funds to over 4,000 youth drawn from Samburu, Marsabit, Laikipia, and Isiolo counties. Giverson Maina is on the presidential beat.
Samburu County on Tuesday played host to President William Ruto as he launched the disbursement of 103 million Nyota startup capital. 4,159 young entrepreneurs drawn from Isiolo, Laikipia, Marsabit and Samburu received 22,000 each via their mobile phones. The first in command saying the youth are the greatest resource for the country.
And I want to assure you, the young people of our nation, that this administration, we have developed for the first time the most deliberate plan for the young people of our nation. Siasa imechukua nafasi kubwa. Wanasiasa na viongozi ni maneno tu ya kupiga kura, maneno ya kupiga kura, lakini kupiga kura ni siku moja.
Mimi ni mwanabiashara na nafanyanga biashara ya kushona sweta na uniform ya shule. Sasa saa hii ni wakati wangu sasa. Kwa sababu shule imefunguliwa, watu wako busy, sasa hii ndio napata biashara sasa.
The president used the occasion to slam his political rivals for terming the initiative as a mere handout.
Kama hamuna kitu ya kupanga ya hawa vijana, wachaneni na vitisho, wachaneni na uchochezi. Hawa vijana, they want a future. Wanataka kujua ajira itapatikana wapi. Wanataka kujua masomo wataendelea namna gani. Wanataka kujua biashara watafanya namna gani.
We must use our young people to build the country, not to destroy the country. Na mimi nataka niwaulize vijana, mtu asikuje kukuambia ati akupatie shilingi 100, shilingi 200, uende ukarushe mawe na kupiga wapinzani wa huyo mtu wa kisiasa.
He would later lay the foundation stone for the construction of a modern market in the Muruti, Laikipia County. Here he challenged the opposition leaders to present their development track record to Kenyans ahead of the 2027 elections.
Mimi nimejenga soko hapa Muruti. Wewe kuja ambia hao watu utafanya nini? Barabara ndio hiyo mimi najenga, sema yako. Hiyo mimi nafanya mambo ya stima, sema yako. Ile maneno ya kupanga mambo ya affordable housing, kupanga ajira ya hawa vijana, sema yako. Wachana na fitina, wachana na ukabila, wachana na chuki. Panga maneno, hawa wananchi wako na akili, watajua nani yako na mpango, nani hana mpango. Hawa wapinzani wako Wengi hawana hata ile nguvu ya kupishana na wewe. Wala ni watu ya rika yangu tu, pengine wakaribia kitiki kidogo, lakini watu wako chini sana kwa korona. Hawa ni watu wetu tuachie na profesa na wengine tunyoroshe hawa watu.
The leaders accompanying the president warn against acts of banditry that has remained a menace for Laikipia, Baringo, Samburu, West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet counties.
Tunatumia intelligence, tukikupata uko na bunduki, wewe unachukuliwa na bunduki hiyo na tunawacha wananchi, hakuna mwananchi anaumizwa.
President William Ruto has sustained his onslaught against the opposition leaders, challenging them to lay bare their agenda for the country with only less than 2 years to the general elections. Give us Mana, Prime Edition in Rumuruti, Laikipia County.
From Samburu to a story we highlighted for you at the beginning of the broadcast, a distraught mother from Ndiwa village in Homa Bay County is demanding answers over alleged negligence at Kendege prison after her 25-year-old son suffered severe burns which were not reported to the family. Carolina Koth says prison officials failed to notify her that her son, Lawrence Ogunda, had been badly injured despite having her contact information. Ogunda, who is serving a 6-year sentence, is now fighting for his life at the Migori County Referral Hospital after sustaining extensive burns inside the prison kitchen in Kehancha, Migori County. John Kahiro has that story.
At the Migori County Referral Hospital, a mother is in anguish and tears. Desperate, she searches for answers about her son's condition. According to Caroline Akoth, mother to Lawrence Ogunda, she only discovered her son's condition on the 5th of December 2025 during an unplanned visit to the facility.
Wakaniuliza ni nani amenipigia simu, nikamwambia kuna mwenye alinipigia simu, mimi nimeona tu nikuje nione mtoto wangu sababu nimemmiss. Wakasema ati kuna shida kidogo. Nikamwambia kwani nini imefanyika? Nikauliza nini imefanyika? Wakasema ati alikuwa amepata tu accident kidogo, alikuwa kwa jikoni na bahati mbaya akateleza akaanguka.
Pain written all over her face. Akoth says she was told Ogunda had suffered a minor injury but was stunned when she found him severely burnt and bedridden inside the prison's dispensary.
Kauliza daktari, kwani kiwango ya hii moto iko ngapi? Akaniambia ati hii kiwango si mbaya, ndio maana tuko na yeye hapa. Ingekuwa mbaya singekuwa na yeye hapa, singemweka hapa kwa dispensary yetu.
Despite assurances that Ogunda was recovering, Akoth says his condition worsened, forcing her to demand his transfer to a higher level facility. The family is now questioning why the prison withheld information about the injury and whether Ogunda received timely and proper medical care, pointing to possible negligence.
Kwa nini wanamwacha huko ndani na wanajua kiwango ya moto imefika juu hivyo na wanamweka huko kwa dispensary kwa prison huko ndani? Si wangemtoa mapema watafute na yeye matibabu, hata kama sasa napigiwa simu naambiwa mami mtoto wako amepata ajali kidogo lakini tumemtoa ako hospitali fulani. Hiyo ingekuwa afadhali, lakini sasa wanaacha mpaka mimi mwenyewe ndio niende.
In a rejoinder, the Kendege prison officials say Ogunda slipped and fell into a cauldron of hot porridge during a kitchen duty. And inside the facility, reconstructive surgeon Dr. Michael Kibira confirms that Ogunda suffered severe burns covering more than half of his body and requires specialized treatment.
He suffered some 55% actually burns, suffering involving the back, the lower limbs and both upper limbs. The patient came to us about 2 months after suffering these burns, so we are trying to do the best we can with the situation that he is right now. Currently, he came to us actually suffering from burn sepsis. So we are trying to give him some antibiotics, time to give him some fluids and to actually just make him comfortable with some good dressings and pain management.
John Kahiro for Prime Edition.
Across the borders, to a story compiled by John Jacob Curia, the Ugandan government has ordered for an indefinite temporary shutdown of public internet access and selected mobile services beginning this evening ahead of its general election slated for Thursday. The Uganda Communication Commission's directive is expected to affect access to the internet, registration of new SIM cards and data roaming services. This even as a section of human rights activists raised concerns over what they describe as a shrinking democratic space ahead of the elections.
36 hours before Uganda heads to the polls, that has attracted the interest of 8 candidates, including incumbent President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and his arch-rival Robert Chagulanyi, popularly known as Bobby Wine. The Ugandan authorities appear to have taken a drastic move in what it says will stem the spread of misinformation, disinformation, electoral fraud and incitement to violence. The Uganda Communications Commission, in a statement, says internet access, new SIM card registration and data roaming will be temporarily restricted beginning Tuesday evening. The Commission, in its directive, targets social media platforms, web browsing, video streaming, personal email services and messaging applications. Operators have also been directed to disable mobile virtual private networks or VPN services on their networks. Healthcare services, banking services, government systems and other essential services providers have, however, been spared from the directive. The shutdown will continue until the Commission issues a notice lifting the order. In the meantime, a section of activists claim the anticipated election will not be credible owing to shrinking democratic space. Speaking in Nairobi under the banner of Africans for Africa, the activists accused the Justice Simon Mugenyi Byabakama-led Electoral Commission of bias, intimidation of opposition candidates, and facilitating an environment that undermines free and fair elections.
Main organizations were denied accreditation for monitoring the elections. A lot of organizations have been banned. The other political contenders that were in the race, most of them have been treated unfairly.
Because when you look at even in Kampala right now, in major towns, the UPDF has taken over. In fact, the Electoral Commission is not in charge. It's the police, it's the military.
The Electoral Commission has repeatedly denominated candidates of the opposition party from the nomination list, hence giving an unfair advantage to the NRM candidates, some going unopposed.
John Jacob Curia, Prime Edition.
15 minutes past the top of the hour, you're watching Prime Edition. We are taking our first commercial break. When we return, much more with the detail and clarity you deserve. Stay with us.
Guess how long line zetu za stima ziko? 320,000 kilometers. Hiyo ni kama go around the earth 8 times. Wacha nikuelezee how far we go to bring you electricity.
Hapa ni substation. Substation, hata engineers wakikuja, they don't just walk in. They have to be in touch with the controllers. They ask them to give them permits ya wafanyakazi kwa any place.
Boss, hii sasa ndio final. Inaitwa transmission line. These lines transmit power from big stations like Olkaria at 200 up to 500,000 volts. Kazi yangu is to let 500,000 volts of electricity flow around me while I work so that Kenyans can get power. Hii kazi inahitaji bravery, strength, confidence, courage, hizo vitu zote. Kila saa nikiambia watu kazi mimi nafanya, wananiuliza why, na mimi nawauliza why. Somebody has to do it. For them, for you. Shine on Kenya, pamoja tuangane.
Mimi niko hapa kwa sababu yenu nyote. Si nimekuambia wewe ukae ndani huko? Huko kuna kesi huko. Atakaa ndani miaka hii.
Na suna ka smart.
Nataka niende kwa chief. Aliniambia leo kuna kesi nyingi na yetu ndio ya mwisho.
Tafadhali naomba tuzungumze. Kwa hivyo nikikupa any prize wewe uko sawa. Hata kama milioni 1.
Fadhali nifungwe maisha.
Nikifuata sheria kisawa sawa, inabidi utoe 100K.
Kwani hali yangu ilikuwa mbaya sana? Uje hospitali?
Wewe ulijuaje kwamba huyu amekwenda Lanza alikuwa anabadilisha?
Alipigia mzungu simu akamuuliza kama alibadilisha jina.
Yote ni porojo.
Mimi nataka haki.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Talk to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. On to other developments, and it is a story we highlighted for you at the beginning of the broadcast. Learners across the country continued reporting to their various senior schools on the second day of admission. However, despite the exercise being seamless in some institutions, parents expressed concern over inconsistencies in requirements listed in admission letters from the government and those from the schools. Some learners are, however, yet to get placement to any schools.
At Homa Bay School in Homa Bay County, Grade 10 learners are streaming in for admission a day after the exercise started countrywide. However, parents are raising concerns over some learners yet to get placement.
Some students are still at home. Some students have not got the letters, although there was some change that the government made, but it was not enough for all the students in Kenya. So some are still missing the place to go.
According to Lucio Molo, the situation has particularly affected children from poor families.
That one should be considered because some are coming from the poor family. They should be taken to the nearest school because they they can learn in day school.
Naona ni kama serikali na shule wanafaa in future kila kitu ikuwe inaambatana. Si ati unafika shule unapata zile zenye serikali alikupatia ni tofauti kidogo na ya shule. Okay, kama kwa ile barua ya serikali ilisemekana tununue vitabu. Ilisemekana tununue vitabu. Mahali kama hapa tunapata vitabu ziko zile za shule.
Transfer requests are already approved by other schools, but a few number around 20 to 30 are still pending. We believe by the ministry will sort it out.
At St. Joseph High School in Githunguri, school principal Francis Miano called upon parents to continue registering their students since the school has enough classrooms to accommodate 500 students.
The CBE system is new. There will be the issue of assigning these students classes, given that they're doing very many combinations. And therefore, we may have a challenge of ensuring that the students are able to fit into the various pathways.
Pesa ya basari na mambo ya capitation iwe inaachiliwa mapema. Diposa wazazi wae wanachukua basari kwa mapema na shule hiyo inasaidiwa mambo na capitation mapema waweze kujiandaa mapema.
And we would request the government to continue doing it so that the laboratories, the books, even the teaching personnel can be added to be able to cater for the big numbers.
By early Tuesday, 250 students had been enrolled in grade 10 in the school. These 355 schools in Mwingi Central Constituency, Kitui County, have benefited from books donated by Kitui Chief Officer in charge of Finance, John Makau.
Wazazi wa area hii uzingatia sana mambo ya kilimo, lakini mvua haikunyesha vizuri, ndipo sasa akaonelea ni vyema ili aje apatie watoto vitabu na kalamu kwa sababu mazao hayakuwa mazuri mwaka huu.
Nancy Kware, Prime Edition.
The Law Society of Kenya, LSK, has filed an application seeking the court to set aside the conservatory orders that bar public institutions from engaging private legal practitioners. Addressing the media in Nairobi on Tuesday, LSK president termed the move unconstitutional, discriminatory, and a threat to access to justice. Joseph Wahungo compiled this report.
The conservatory orders issued on Monday by Justice Samuel Mukira at Nakuru High Court temporarily halted public entities from hiring external legal counsel. This followed a case filed by Gikenyi Magare and Busia Senator Okiya Omtata challenging the use of substantial amount of money on legal fees for private counsel despite having competent and experienced lawyers. However, LSK says the order unfairly targets the legal profession, while other professionals such as doctors, engineers and architects continue to be engaged by government agencies.
The petition and ex parte orders granted by the High Court sitting at Nakuru petition E001 of 2026, are a culmination of a protracted cyclic attempt to cut off private practitioners from the public sector economic ecosystem.
We have since filed an application seeking to review and set aside the ex parte conservatory orders issued by the Honorable Mr. Justice Muhochi Mukira, and are hopeful that this regrettable omission in law will be rectified swiftly.
Speaking in Nairobi on Tuesday, LSK President Faith Odhiambo argued that the issue had already been settled through previous court rulings and Senate deliberations, which affirmed that public bodies are legally allowed to outsource legal services when necessary. According to LSK, public institutions often lack the capacity to handle the sheer volume of complexity of cases they face, making the engagement of private lawyers unavoidable to prevent case backlogs and default judgments.
And therefore to single out the entire legal profession of the entire country is not only absurd, illegal and unconstitutional.
Why discriminate on one profession, on one body of profession? That is the question that we are asking. It is completely preposterous.
The society also dismissed claims of excessive legal fees, saying advocate remuneration is regulated by law and subject to assessment by courts and procurement processes.
It is therefore untenable to suspend legal services altogether in the name of capping expenditure on legal fees, as the law provides adequate avenues through which fees can be regularized.
Joseph Ohungu for Prime Edition.
This is a big one. In Kenya's coastal town of Mtwapa, an all-girls school tucked inside an informal settlement is quietly rewriting the story of education for vulnerable communities. As senior school admits the inaugural grade 10 class under the competency-based education system, Anesta Coast Girls Academy says it is ready to ensure it only admits but keep girls in school. Our reporter Arun Marie brings us this story of bold steps towards a community transformation.
For years, the Mtwapa informal settlement in Kilifi County has been associated with poverty, teenage pregnancies and early marriages, factors that have pushed many girls out of school. But rising above the narrow path and crowded homes is Anesta Coast Girls Academy, a school determined to change this narrative.
Anesta Coast was established after the mother school, that is Anesta Pioneering School from Lanet, whereby we saw the idea of bringing the best to the coast. After realizing we had so many flowing to Nakuru, that is our mother school, and we decided to bring the better services close to the people of Kilifi.
As Kenya transitions to the competency-based education system, the academy has confirmed full readiness to admit grade 10 learners.
We offer them chances to do all they can practically, and we are able now to say grade 10, we are set and prepared.
The school would admit up to 105 learners, deliberately built in Mtwapa. The institution targets girls who might otherwise never have the opportunity to complete secondary education.
We've featured the girls. Why? In Kilifi County, the girl child education was similarly ignored, and many were not given appropriate and also best facility to exploit their potential.
To ease the financial burden on families, the school allows parents to pay fees in installment, popularly known as lipa mdogo mdogo, and subsidies up to half the fees for the most vulnerable learners.
Some of them have got, we say, a humble beginning or humble background, but we listen and care. So we help you go through, the runner goes through the education through support.
Teacher preparedness has been central to the school transition.
In preparation, majorly, we well know a teacher who is now serving as the facilitator is key to the success of implementation of CBE.
Results back the confidence. In its first ever Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination, the school posted an impressive performance.
Our girls made the school proud by simply having gathered all their energies and concentration and posted a 51% transition to university.
Out of 47 candidates, 23 scored C+ and above, giving the school a 51% university transition rate. The top student scored an A-.
It being the first class in Anesta Coast, first candidate class in the 844 system, it's very impressive for us and we don't take it for granted.
Alongside academics, the school offers guidance and counseling, shielding learners from social pressure common in the area.
We also have motivations that take place in our school. We have guiding and counseling that takes place. We have our directors that come and give us motivational talks. And I think that's what helped the 2025 class to succeed.
As Kenya rolls out senior school under the new curriculum, the schools stand as proof that with investment, vision, and community focus, even the most marginalized areas can become centers of excellence. Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Aaron Marie.
Kenya's legendary super tusker Craig may have died, but its story is far from over. The Kenya Wildlife Service has begun an elaborate taxidermy process to preserve Craig's physical form for education and heritage. Our reporter Alvin Kaunda visited the Nairobi National Museum, where the preservation work is underway, and filed the following reports.
Under the watch of museum staff and conservation officers, Craig's remains are offloaded, marking the beginning of a delicate preservation journey. Inside the Nairobi National Museum, a rare scientific mission is in progress. Museum specialists are carefully preserving the physical remains of Craig. Their goal, to reconstruct a lifelike mount that will allow future generations to encounter this conservation icon.
In our mind, we want to prepare the body to last as long as 1 year, 100 years, and every year or 2 years we can maintain the body to make it look as natural as possible or as original as Craig was.
Taxidermy is a meticulous work.
The skin imeshikana pamoja na.
Every fold of skin, every contour must be recreated with scientific accuracy and deep respect for the animal's form.
That's a process that takes long, and for an elephant can take as long as 1 year. 1 year, 2 months, sometimes up to 5 months, depending on how the weather and the availability of materials.
Born in 1972, Craig grew into a global ambassador for Amboseli, admired for his giant tusks and calm presence. In a statement released by the Kenya Wildlife Service, Craig's taxidermy preservation process is officially underway, with plans to make the final exhibit accessible to the public.
I think Craig had got unique biological characters. What is very conspicuous is extended canines, which people call tusks. And this kind of genetic trait could be there in the pool, but we are not sure. So having it here, taxidermy, would be a reminder that we need to keep those gigantic animals among us, and they have unique ecological services that it used to render in the environment.
Once completed, Craig's mounted exhibit will be displayed for public viewing. Alvin Kaunda reporting for KBC.
On to other developments tonight. The government has moved to tighten its grip on who controls hiring, firing, and workplace discipline across the country. This as the Human Resource Management Professionals Examinations Board announced a sweeping overhaul that will lock out unqualified HR managers and make state certification the only legal route to practicing human resource management. Speaking during the release of the December 2025 HR Professional Examination results in Nairobi, Human Resource Management Professionals Examinations Board Chief Executive Officer Margaret Ngu declared that HRMPEB is the only body mandated by the law to certify HR professionals, warning that certificates issued by any other institution are fake and valid, a move that directly affects thousands of people currently working as HR managers in both government and private companies. With more than 4,500 candidates now being certified every year, Ngu said the government is building a new generation of licensed HR professionals who will be expected to uphold ethical standards, protect workers' rights, and end practices such as unfair dismissals, unpaid salaries, and workplace abuse that have plagued many Kenyan employees.
That it is only HRMPEP, Human Resource Management Professionals Examination Board, that is mandated by law in this country to certify human resource professionals. And therefore, any other institution purporting to have certified candidates to, professionals, it is not true. Those are fake. There are those who are even using a similar name, like ours, something to do with the CHRP or something. But we are the only certifying body in this country.
I would encourage anyone out there who wants to attain CHRP status, and you have 15 years and above experience in HR, and also you have attained qualifications in diploma, either degree, higher diploma, or even master's and PhD qualifications in HR, then you can get in touch with us and we can take you through the RPL certification path, and you're going to attain CHRP status.
The Human Resource Management Professional Examination Board has come up with one of the best products that is meant to help all Kenyan universities make sure that all their HR graduates who are graduating with a degree, they also have qualified to have the professional qualification, the prestigious CHRPK. And in line with this, we have already rolled out this program with Tharaka University.
Let's now take you to the counties. Residents of Kamangu in Kikuyu, Kiambu County have taken to the streets to protest what they claimed as an increase of illicit brews and narcotic drugs in the area. The residents say the illicit brew has led to the deaths of 4 people and ruined the lives of many in the area. Here now are the details.
The angry residents stormed a bar suspected of selling illicit brew in the area and demanded its immediate closure. They decried the deaths of 4 people due to illicit brew, which they say has also ruined lives of thousands of others in the area. Kikuyu Deputy County Commissioner Charles Laboso said its administration will take action as soon as possible.
Any public officer who is condoning or supporting or abetting the sale of illicit brew and the sale of drugs will face disciplinary action.
Hatuna ubaya na mwenye plot, lakini tumemkanya kuanzia leo kuendelea asikondese hii kama mbaya, akondese na kasi ingine, kwa sababu hakika ikiwa itakuwa hapo kesho tutakuja tena.
Meanwhile, Nyeri Town Legislator Duncan Mathenge has voted to petition Parliament to increase funding for education bursaries and scholarships to support learners from needy backgrounds.
You can see, like in Tetu, 340 households that were disabled could not get considered. In Nyeri Town, 381 households, and not all the households really were able to reach out.
Elsewhere, ODM leaders in Busia County have expressed their support for Dr. Oburu Odinga as the party leader following the ODM Central Committee resolutions.
Ile mazungumuzo ambayo walipitisha jana, ile 6-point agenda ya kusema kwamba ODM iko broad based, na sasa tunaelekea katika phase 2 ya kufungua mazungumuzo na vyama vingine. Priority yetu ya kwanza ikiwa chama cha UDA, ili tuone hapo mbele kama tunaweza kushirikiana kuwa na coalition ambayo itangangania uchaguzi wa 2027.
Meanwhile, Kenya Forest Service in Meru has raised over 6 million seedlings this year, which are set to be planted during the upcoming long rains in an effort to achieve presidential directive of 15 billion trees by 2032.
Our appeal to the community is that we should shift from tree planting to tree growing. That's why you plant the seedlings and the trees, then you take care of them until they get somewhere where they can sustain themselves in the field. You don't plant and leave. Also, we are honestly promoting planting of fruit trees like avocado.
Finally, the residents of Karindi village in Siaya County have petitioned the government to rein in on unscrupulous sand harvesters operating along the banks of River Nzoia to save their land from erosion.
In the last 3 days, these young men standing behind me had to tow a boat from this river up to a center called Nduru Market. This was because we have tried days without numbers to speak, but it just goes into deaf ears. It is very unfortunate that those people who do this kind of work, they don't have any respect at all.
Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
Guess how long line zetu za stima ziko?
Bright moments. Moments that inspire, enlighten,
niliwacha sitima, sasa inawacha, nikaona kuna kipara inasai.
And give hope, joy, and clarity. We move forward together, shining and with purpose. For years, we have been your trusted partners that have kept the path illuminated into a bright shared future. Empowering education, information, and entertainment, bringing light to homes, schools, shops, and hospitals in urban centers and villages. Our aim is to do everything possible to keep dreams alive through dedication and power. Kenya Power.
Pamoja twang'aa.
Kusahona nafanya googling natembea in front of my husband hapo.
Kwani wewe Kasuku?
Wewe
mimi ile heshima hata nilikuwa na kuheshimu madam, naona hakuna haja.
Hata mimi hapana kuheshimu wewe. Mwingine
Huu kwanza ndo jini mkatakamba mheshimiwa.
Mimi unaona nilileta majini saa ngapi?
Hiyo mimi ilikuwa napenda yeye. Unajua penda nataka kutuanga. Lakini
hiyo mapenzi yako ni tofauti.
Namna gani hata bebe iko paya googling yeye, alafu wewe napundisa yeye nafanya jigli hata yangu.
Why did you bring temptation kwa nyumba za wenyewe?
Yes.
Hakuna temptation imeletwa.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Let's now get into business. 3 million bags of the subsidized fertilizer is ready for collection by smallholder farmers ahead of the long rains planting season. Agriculture Principal Secretary Dr. Paul Rono says a 50-kilo bag of the subsidized fertilizer will retail at 2,500 shillings.
The government has started distribution of 3 million bags of subsidized fertilizer ahead of the long rains. Registered smallholder farmers are being encouraged to collect the subsidized fertilizer at National Cereals and Produce Board depots and other last-mile distribution centers.
Ningependa wakulima waende sasa kwa NCPP, waanze kuchukua mbolea, wajipange ili mwezi ya tatu ikifika tayari tumeenda kwa shamba tuanze kupanda.
Plans are underway to distribute 12.3 million bags of the subsidized fertilizer this year to boost production and reduce the food imports.
Hii mbolea yenye tumeanza kusambaza itafika karibu milioni 12.5 kwa sababu mwaka iliyopita tulisambaza mbolea milioni 10 kwa wakulima wa Kenya. Kuna wakulima wa kahawa, wakulima wa mahindi, wakulima wa majani chai na wale wakulima wengine.
The National Cereals and Produce Board is integrating certified seed distribution in the fertilizer subsidy program.
We have also aligned the seed companies, the Kenya Seed Company and the other seed producers to make sure that together with NCPP, the fertilizers and the seeds are both present so that it is one-stop shop for our farmers.
We want them to take this opportunity to do the subsidized program
which covers both fertilizer, seeds, and vaccination of animals. Let them take this opportunity to use these facilities that the government has put across to all the farmers so that we can rely on ourselves for food production.
Dr. Rono says the subsidized fertilizer being distributed in the region is crop and soil specific to ensure maximum yield. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi has defended the proposed sale of 15% stake in Safaricom to Vodacom, arguing that growing pressure on public finances has created the need to mobilize alternative funding for priority expenditure without increasing public debts. Mbadi says relying on dividends enterprises the government has a stake in is no longer sufficient given competing demands for infrastructure financing. Trevor Ngeno has this detailed reports.
Was there openness? Did we give these other shareholders information?
How do you secure? How can we reinvest this money so that it will go to the purpose intended?
Are we diversifying this particular investment? And then we have the money sitting in our bank accounts, not absorbed for the next 1 or 2 years.
This money is going to be used exclusively to set up a seed capital national infrastructure fund.
Under the proposal to sell 15% of its stake in Safaricom to strategic investor Vodacom, the government targets to raise 204.3 billion shillings. After the transaction, the government would retain a 20% shareholding and 2 seats on Safaricom's board, which the National Treasury says will safeguard national...
There's a reason why we are going to the market to raise funds, and that reason is to send up a national infrastructure fund. As a government, we are projecting that we want to raise about 500 to 600 billion as seed capital.
Mbadi says Vodacom, which already holds a 40% stake in Safaricom, was the preferred strategic investor due to its long-standing partnership with the company, which means less disruptions. As part of the transaction, Vodacom has made several commitments aimed at protecting local interests, including a pledge of no acquisition-related redundancies for at least 3 years, retention of Kenyan leadership through a Kenyan chairperson and independent directors, and continued support for the Safaricom Foundation social and community programs.
They will control the elections, they'll control security, they'll control everything. Have we sat down to really think twice about selling Safaricom? Ownership or shareholder ownership does not apply when it comes to security, data protection and all that. It is our laws.
According to the National Treasury, the final negotiated price of 34 shillings per share represents a 17% premium over the prevailing market price, valuing Safaricom at 1.158 trillion shillings.
We decided to retain 20% strategically, but that does not mean that tomorrow, if we see the need, and I want to put it very clear, so that when it comes again another time that we are offloading more shares, Kenya should not come up and say that we said we were only offloading 15. 15% is what we are offloading now. That is what we are divesting now. But a decision can be taken again in future by this government or any other government.
The proceeds from the sale are expected to support priority infrastructure projects as the government seeks to reduce borrowing. With key agencies weighing in, the final outcome now rests with Parliament, whose decision would determine the state's stake in the telecoms giant. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition in Kiambu County.
At least 40,000 smallholder farmers are set to be trained on modern agroecological practices to boost production under a 3-year project by the International Fund for Agricultural Development. The project is designed to respond to the emerging challenges inhibiting agricultural production, including climate change and degrading soil, as Wycliffe Okech narrates.
Soil degradation is among the myriad of challenges hurting agricultural production. To address this, government agencies, in collaboration with development partners, are sensitizing and supporting at least 40,000 smallholder farmers in 6 counties, namely Kilifi, Kakamega, Embu, Trans Nzoia, Makueni and Taita Taveta, to boost food production to grow household earnings.
So today we are really excited for the launch of the ERSA program. It's a program that is funded by the European Union, and for that we are really grateful to the European Union for the support. This launch marks the beginning of implementation, but like we said during the launch, it's important to launch, but it's more important to implement. So we look forward to working with Kakamega and all the other counties that are involved in this program for a successful implementation.
We will be able to get to the ground to ensure that all the positive results are achieved through this program. And at the same time, it's one way that this government, one of the initiatives that the government is going through or helping out so that the farmers are able to achieve the full production from the land that they own.
Kamara says the farmers will be sensitized on agroecological practices, offered sustainable bio-inputs and agroecological services through digital e-voucher systems, as well as strengthened extension services.
So I can assure you that this program is hitting the ground running. Already farmers have been identified. The program is set for rollout. We have disbursed the first sets of funds to the program already.
So we are all asking that it doesn't matter age, but as farmers, let us work together. The government will give the right environment, the right facilities to ensure that farmers are able to achieve the objective of this country, that is to feed itself and cut down the importation of food from across.
For Channel 1, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Airtel Money Kenya has done a major system upgrade that has strengthened cybersecurity, a critical move in safeguarding the mobile money ecosystem. Airtel Money Kenya Managing Director Ann Kinuthia Otieno says by shifting to microservices-based platform, the company now isolates faults without an outage of services, which has significantly improved uptime. She says the new system makes the platform future-ready while enabling faster expansion of services and partnerships.
And that system upgrade is not only improving the the security, because mobile money, of course, you can understand these needs to really embrace cybersecurity. So we've improved our security. We've gone on what we call microservices. So if there's anything wrong in the system, the whole system doesn't have to come down. You only deal with that small section that is causing problems. And the beauty about microservices is that you then have significant uptime compared to before. So we are now future ready from a platform perspective.
Glad you're watching Prime Edition. We are taking our second commercial break. When we return, Karen Kibet, if you like, Marakwet Express will be bringing you the sports. Stay with us.
The young generation awakens on Y254, the leading youth TV station in Kenya. We treat you to current affairs, entrepreneurship, health, and human interest conversations.
It's art, it's culture,
Movies, gossip and trends, sports, drama.
We bring you a vibe like no other, straight to your living room.
To keep you informed, inspired, entertained, and most of all, refreshed.
We are such a vibe.
Y254. Imagine.
The world of governance is vast and can be alien to the ordinary man on the street.
Critical issues are going to be discussed.
From white papers to policy positions, it is easier to get lost in the labyrinth of words.
Inside Government takes you to key global metropolis where critical decisions are made and where policies are crafted.
We interview policymakers and senior government officials to highlight and enumerate government policies and projects. We take a deep dive into the underbelly of complex red tape to demystify policies across the country, across the world. Join me, O'Brien Kimani, on Inside Government, only on KBC Channel 1.
kusahona nafanya googling natembea in front of my husband hapo.
Kwani wewe Kasuku?
Wewe
mimi ile heshima hata nilikuwa na kuheshimu madam, naona hakuna haja.
Hata mimi hapana kuheshimu wewe.
Huyu kwanza ndo jini mkatakamba mheshimiwa.
Mimi nilileta majini saa ngapi?
Hiyo mimi ilikuwa napenda yeye. Unajua penda nataka kutuanga. Lakini
hiyo mapenzi yako ni tofauti.
Namna gani hata wewe iko paya googling yeye alafu wewe napundisa yeye nafanya jigli hata yangu
Why did you bring temptation kwa nyumba za wenyewe?
Yes.
Hakuna temptation imeletwa.
Good evening and welcome to Prime Edition Sports News. My name is Karen Kibet. Let's now take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. Now, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya has officially launched the 2026 Athletes Week in Nairobi, bringing together 140 athletes from over 30 national sports federations. The 4-day seminar will conclude this Friday.
Speaking after the launch, NOC President Shedrack Maluki stressed that the athlete welfare remains their top priority as Kenya heads into the demanding international competition cycle.
Tunataka muweke bidii zaidi. Manake tunataka mng'are. Mking'ara, taifa inang'ara. Mking'ara, Kenya inasifika. Hiyo bendera yetu ya taifa wakati inapandishwa kwa mlingoti, nyimbo ya taifa ikipigwa, dunia nzima ikisimama wima kwa sababu umeshinda, ni kumaanisha mamilioni yote ya Wakenya wako nyuma yako.
He noted that with major events such as Milano Cortina Winter Olympics, the Dakar 2026 Youth Olympic Games, and the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games, holistic athlete support is no longer an option.
We understand you because, as I said earlier, we've been in those shoes. We will be working to ensure that there are programs that ensure your transition is smooth. You don't just expire. We train you back to start giving back to the same federations where you guys are coming from.
The Athletes Week combines two key initiatives: the National Athletes Forum running on the 13th and 14th of January, and the Athlete 365 Career Plus program scheduled for 15th and 16th January, creating one unified platform for athlete dialogue and capacity building.
If you are a generation that is fearless, you are a generation that can conquer, you are a generation that can do what we did not do, I see champions in you.
The focus is on ensuring athletes actively participate in shaping conversations around their careers, well-being and representation in sport. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Moving on, Damian Magu of Football Excellence Academy has been selected by the Confederation of African Football to represent Kenya in the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations finals in Morocco as a ball kid, otherwise known as a ball boy. Damian, who captains Football Excellence Academy football team, is the only young player from Kenya who has been selected for this prestigious opportunity, together with 4 other players from Ghana, Senegal, Morocco and Nigeria. He was selected through a special program that involves previous Total Energies competitions, local grassroots football and social media contests. A story about his passion for the game was entered and proved to be successful. Football Excellence Academy is based in Nairobi, where it nurtures football talent, providing pathways for their development. Now, athletes looking to jumpstart their 2026 season will be in action this weekend as the second leg of the Athletics Kenya Track and Field Weekend meeting takes place at Thika Stadium. The Thika meet has been expanded into a full 3-day program following the cancellation of the opening leg that was scheduled for Mumias. All events initially planned for Mumias will now be staged in Thika, creating a packed schedule featuring 19 track and field disciplines. Athletes will compete in sprints, middle and long distance races, hurdles, steeplechase, race walk, and wide range of field events, including the combined events for decathletes and hepathletes. Athletics Kenya says the competition is a key early test for athletes preparing for a busy 2026 calendar that includes the World Relays, Commonwealth Games, and 2 global championships later this year. Kenyan golfers are gearing up for the ABSA Invitational Series that is scheduled to take place from tomorrow to Friday this week at the Thika Greens Golf Resort as part of the Sunshine Development Tour East Africa Swing. The tourney has attracted 82 golfers from 10 African countries, with Kenyan players forming the largest contingent of 55 players as they look to capitalize on home advantage to increase their world golf ranking points and a cash prize of 2 million Kenya shillings. Professional golfers Kenya President John Wangai said that the tour has brought renewed focus and structure to professional golf in the country. Moving on, the journey to the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations has officially begun following the draw for the preliminary round today in Rabat, with the final set to be co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. The 12 teams will contest 6 ties in a home and away format for a place in the main qualification rounds. They include Eritrea, who were excluded from the 2025 qualifiers after withdrawing from the 2023 one. They will face Eswatini as Djibouti hosts South Sudan. Chad will play Burundi, Somalia will square it out against Mauritius, while Seychelles will lock horns with Lesotho. Sao Tome will face Ethiopia. The 6 winners of the 2-legged tie slated between the 23rd and 31st of March this year will progress to the main qualification rounds, where they will join 42 highest-ranked sides from the continent.
The first team that would host the first leg, Djibouti. We have Chad. Ethiopia. And they are trying to come back to the next AFCON.
And those were all the sports stories we had for you today. I'll see you tomorrow with more sports stories. My name is Karen Kibet, but I do hand you back to my senior colleague, Muchuma Odim. Muchuma, you look so beautiful in the Maasai attire. Kindly shed a few pointers on why you chose that attire today. You look so beautiful.
Thank you, Morocco Express. Just the themed bulletin of African wear on Tuesdays, and it happened we settled on this. It's only that Tom is under the weather, but yes, he could be here with us so that we tell the beautiful story and be proud of our African heritage. And on that note, Kibet, thank you for the sports bit. We come to the close of Prime Edition. Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Mixed reactions on quite a number of stories. And today, mixed reactions, especially on the story that is touching on developments across the borders, neighboring Uganda ahead of the Thursday elections. I am Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Lucy Maura. Till some other time, good night. God bless you.
2025 imekamilika. 2026 tunaingia na matarajio mema ya kumiliki shamba, nyumba